The moment you become a dad, everyone suddenly becomes a parenting expert. Don't pick up the baby too much. Let them cry. Kids need to toughen up. But some parenting advice hasn't aged very well. So here are 10 pieces of dad advice we should probably stop passing down and what the evidence actually suggests instead. Number one, don't hold your baby too much. You've probably heard this one. If you keep picking them up every time they cry, you're going to spoil them. But babies don't manipulate their parents in the way adults sometimes imagine. Especially in infancy, crying is communication. They might be hungry, tired, uncomfortable, overstimulated, or they might simply need reassurance. And responsive caregiving helps babies develop a sense of security. Research around attachment suggests that consistently responding to a baby's needs can help support secure attachment, which is associated with healthier emotional and social development. Number two, never let your kids see you struggle. I understand where this advice comes from. As dads, we want our kids to feel safe. So we sometimes think we need to look completely unshakable, never worried, never sad, never uncertain. But emotional strength isn't pretending emotions don't exist. Children learn a lot about emotional regulation by watching adults. So instead of pretending you're never frustrated, they can see something healthier. Dad is frustrated right now, so he's going to calm down before dealing with this. Or dad made a mistake and he's going to fix it. That's not weakness. You're showing your child what managing difficult emotions actually looks like. Number three, kids need to learn that life is hard. This one sounds reasonable because, yes, life is hard and kids need to develop resilience. But resilience doesn't come from making things unnecessarily difficult for them. Imagine your child is struggling to put on their shoes. You could immediately do it for them, or you could refuse to help them at all and say, figure it out, life isn't going to help you. Neither approach is ideal. Instead, maybe you show them how to loosen the shoe, help them get their heel in, and then let them finish it themselves. That's basically what psychologists call scaffolding. You give children enough support to attempt something challenging, and as they become more capable, you gradually step back. That's how you build independence without making your child feel like they're on their own. Number four, stop crying, you're fine. This is probably something many of us heard growing up. Kid falls, starts crying, dad immediately says, you're fine, stop crying. And sometimes physically, yes, they're completely fine. But emotionally, they're telling you they're scared or hurt. Telling children that their feelings aren't real doesn't teach emotional regulation. It can teach emotional suppression. A better response could be, that scared you, didn't it? Let me check you. You're okay. You're still reassuring them. You're just not telling them their emotional reaction was wrong. Strength isn't not feeling emotions. Strength is learning what to do with them. Number five, you have to be strict or your kids won't respect you. This is where discipline gets misunderstood. Kids absolutely need boundaries, but being strict and being consistent aren't necessarily the same thing. Research on parenting styles generally distinguishes between authoritarian parenting, which is high control with relatively low warmth, and authoritative parenting, which combines clear expectations with warmth and responsiveness. Authoritative parenting tends to be associated with better outcomes across several areas of child development. That means have rules, have consequences, say no, but explain expectations when appropriate. And most importantly, be consistent. Your child shouldn't obey you simply because they're scared of you. Eventually, you're trying to help them understand why the rules exist. Number six, your kids should always come first. This sounds like amazing parenting advice, but taken literally, I'm not convinced. Because becoming a parent doesn't mean your marriage disappears, your health disappears, your friendships disappear, and every personal need suddenly becomes selfish. Obviously, there are times where your child has to come first, especially when they're young. But if you spend 20 years completely neglecting yourself and your relationship, that's not necessarily good for your child either. Kids benefit from stable, healthy relationships around them. So occasionally getting a babysitter and having dinner with your spouse isn't abandoning your child. Taking care of your health isn't selfish, and having interests outside parenting doesn't make you a bad dad. Your kids need you, but they also need a version of you that still exists as a human being. Number seven, good dads provide everything their kids want. This is where parenting and money collide, especially when you grow up without much. You might think, my child will never go without the things I couldn't have. That's understandable. But providing everything isn't necessarily preparing them for adulthood, because eventually they'll hear a word they need to understand: no. Sometimes something is too expensive. Sometimes we have other priorities. And sometimes we can afford something and still choose not to buy it. That's an incredibly important financial lesson, because money isn't just about whether you can buy something, it's about deciding what deserves your money. It's teaching them how to make good decisions when nobody's there to make those decisions for them. Number eight, don't talk to kids about money. This one I strongly disagree with. Obviously, a 6-year-old doesn't need to know your mortgage balance, but avoiding money conversations completely means children may eventually enter adulthood without understanding basic financial decisions. Money can be taught gradually. Young kids can learn money is limited. Later, saving means delaying something today for something you want tomorrow. Then, budgeting, investing, credit, debit, taxes, compound growth, and eventually how to avoid financial mistakes. Money shouldn't be something mysterious that children suddenly discover when they get their first credit card. Financial education can start with very simple conversations at home. Number nine, your job is to make your child happy. I obviously want my daughter to be happy, but I don't think my job as her dad is to guarantee happiness every moment of her childhood, because sometimes good parenting will make your child temporarily unhappy. Bedtime can make them unhappy. Turning off the tablet can make them unhappy. Not buying something can make them unhappy. Setting boundaries can definitely make them unhappy. But parenting isn't a popularity contest. The goal isn't how do I prevent my child from ever being upset? It's how do I help my child eventually become capable of handling life when things don't go their way? That's a very different goal, because one day dad isn't going to be standing beside them fixing every disappointment. Number 10, if it worked for us, it's good enough for them. And finally, we did this when we were a kid and you survived. This might be the most dangerous logic on the entire list, because survival isn't proof that something was best. We used to have very different recommendations around car seats, sleep, smoking around children, food safety, mental health, and countless other things. Parenting advice changes because our knowledge changes. That doesn't mean previous generations were bad parents. Most parents used the best information available to them at the time. But if better information becomes available to us, why not use it? And hopefully, 20 years from now, our kids will know more than we do. I'm still early in this dad journey, and I'm definitely going to make mistakes, probably plenty of them. But there's one parenting rule I'm trying to follow: don't automatically repeat something just because that's how it was done before. Ask why, look at the evidence, and think about the kind of adult you're trying to raise. Because your job isn't to raise kids who simply survive childhood, it's to help them become adults who can handle life without us. And if you're a dad trying to figure out parenting, money, and family life, please feel free to subscribe to Canadian Finance Dad, and I'll see you in the next one.